Red Bull has once again found themselves in hot water after reportedly admitting to using a device that can change the car's ride height by adjusting the T-tray, also known as the front bib. As the FIA and Red Bull work together to resolve the issue, other teams are likely to push for stiffer penalties since this violates the rules against modifying the car under parc fermé conditions. Considering McLaren got off lightly with their mini DRS hack in Baku, there's speculation about what kind of ruling Red Bull might face from the FIA. As we look ahead to the race in Austin, one of the major talking points is the notorious device on the RB20 capable of tweaking the car's ride height through changes to the T-tray. As soon as the FIA caught wind or discovered evidence of this piece, they acted quickly. Initially it was unclear which team was being accused, but it didn't take long for Red Bull to be identified and for their actions to be scrutinised. According to the claims, which Red Bull firmly denies, this device changes the ride height during sessions when the car is supposed to remain unchanged. In qualifying sessions, cars carry less fuel, making them lighter. This means teams must perfect the balance of ride height between qualifying and race conditions before the strict parc fermé rules take effect. If any team finds a way to secretly adjust the car during these restrictions, it's outright cheating. Because of this, many teams are calling for severe penalties for Red Bull if they're proven guilty. It's a tricky situation because Red Bull is considered innocent until proven otherwise. Proof would require them to admit they altered the ride height illegally during parc fermé conditions, which is something this controversy seeks to prevent. In Red Bull's defence, there's little chance the FIA can prove past wrongdoing since the part in question is shared with the FIA as open source information. Additionally, reports suggest that the device used to adjust ride height is supplied to all teams by the same manufacturer, making it harder to single out Red Bull for harsher punishment. Despite the FIA's promise to keep a closer eye on things, it seems like teams are still finding clever ways to bend the rules, just as Mercedes and McLaren did with their flexible front wings. Part of the problem lies with the FIA itself, as it's unclear about what is and isn't allowed under the regulations. For instance, McLaren and Mercedes front wings were considered legal for the moment, though this suggests they could later be declared illegal pending more tests to determine how much flexing is acceptable. The rules have some loopholes and top teams are well aware of this, therefore they're doing everything they can to squeeze out as much performance as possible from these cars, which will be phased out in 2026. Commenting on the matter, a Red Bull spokesperson admitted, yes, the device exists, but it's out of reach once the car is fully assembled. We've had several discussions with the FIA about this component, and we've agreed on a plan moving forward. Assessing the situation is going to be quite challenging since this particular car part becomes hidden once the vehicle is put together. The team's reasoning saying that they can't use it once assembled seems like a flimsy excuse. After all, why include it at all? Both Perez and Verstappen have voiced their opinions on whether the RB20 is legal, with Perez, the Mexican driver, arguing that what they're doing now has been done before. This statement comes at an intriguing time, especially after he sharply critiqued the MCL38's legality post-Baku. Now, Perez is in a spot where he must defend his own car's legality. When asked about it, he simply said, "We've done nothing wrong. We never actually discussed it." It seemed impossible. For instance, I remember last year's sprint event where we had the ride height set ridiculously high, almost like aiming for the moon. We did this because we were worried about something that affected Mercedes and Ferrari with their plank wear, which could have happened to us too. I knew there was a tool to help, but we didn't have access to it. The three-time world champion from Red Bull insists there's no reason to be concerned. When the investigation started, he didn't know his team would be involved, especially since this issue wasn't brought up during team briefings after the race. He also highlighted the importance of the open source part category, which protects both the team and the part itself, stating, "It's an open source part, right? Everyone noticed it. For us, it was just a straightforward tool for making adjustments when parts were separated." It was useful for tweaking things, but once the entire car is assembled, you can't modify it easily. So for us, it doesn't make a difference. When I first heard the story, I assumed it was about other teams doing this, and then I discovered it concerned our team. We didn't even bring it up in the meetings. But we're talking about Red Bull here, the team that clinched victory in 21 out of 22 races last year. It's very likely that during these challenging times they've been trying to be as ingenious as possible without getting caught. After the amazing race in Singapore where Verstappen clinched a P2 finish, even when he thought making it to Q3 was uncertain, everyone began focusing on this piece of the puzzle. Meanwhile, Perez barely managed to score a point after an undercut on Colapinto, leaving everyone wondering if a special device was secretly used in Verstappen's car. The mystery remains unsolved though. Lewis Hamilton, the 7-time world champion, weighed in on the situation, particularly the front bib issue. He noted that Red Bull always seems to lead when it comes to innovation and everyone else just tries to catch up. Hamilton mentioned that many are waiting to see how Red Bull's newest upgrade in Austin will perform. If it doesn't work out, Verstappen's bid for a fourth championship could face more hurdles. Plus, if Red Bull was using that device to tweak the ride height and it's against the new FIA rules, things might get trickier for them as the 2024 season wraps up. Red Bull's Christian Horner mentioned that Austin is a natural point in the year for all teams to roll out new updates. We've got something significant in the works, but I suspect Ferrari, Mercedes and McLaren are also planning updates of their own. Our aim is to build on what we've learned clearly since Monza and deliver a car that's evenly balanced front to back, instilling confidence in our drivers, and achieving this won't be straightforward. Lando's performance during the opening stint in Singapore showed us that we're about 23 seconds off the pace. We've started to piece things together and have found some solutions, yet there's still plenty ahead of us. Everything hinges on how the car reacts mechanically and aerodynamically, along with the performance of the tyres, which have been particularly touchy this year. Helmut Marko is optimistic as he believes this new package aims to balance the car and expand its performance range. If successful, it could help Verstappen return to winning races. Considering this, could Red Bull face severe penalties for their ride height changes? And if penalties are on the table, how might the Austrian team defend itself in the world of F1 racing? Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. See you in the next video.